who's the source of information when it comes to northwestern North Dakota? Well, I can tell you this. It's Robin Travers. It is Robin. She's the news director at 660 KEYZ Radio in Williston. Robin, good to have you back in the rig going down the road with us.
Thank you, Joel. It is good to be back, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Robin. Walk me through how things are in northwest North Dakota. How cold did it get over the weekend?
I believe down to about negative 23, 25, something like that.
Yeah. Are you? Tell people where you're from before you move to Williston.
I'm from a place called Middletown, Connecticut, the eastern seaboard. And while we get snow and we'll get cold temperatures, we do not have consecutive days below the donut.
Are you starting? This is a fair question. Are you starting to wonder why the heck you moved here?
Well, maybe not so much me, but my Louisiana-born husband asks me that routinely.
Well, we're lucky to have you. We really are. Talk to me about that northwest area and, the Williston Basin. What's happening with that Bakken formation? A lot of new activity this year?
A lot of new activity, and it's really been, I did have some year-end discussions with both our mayor and both our executive director for Williston Economic Development, who you know very well, Sean Wenko. And we're coming off, despite a lingering pandemic, which is just kind of floors folks, but with which we're very happy about, of course. We continue to have a really good economic development, really good traction. Our census numbers were 30,000. We're getting noticed nationally here in the Bakken for not just what the oil coming up in production and prices, but what we can do, and you and I have talked about it, what we can do with the byproducts of oil moving in a green direction.
Well, and that seems to be a big part of where we're looking to the future. The one thing that I really loved news-wise in 2021 was the fact that the state's moving towards capturing that natural gas, moving it my way. You can't get further away from Williston in North Dakota than I am down in the Wahpeton area, and yet what you produce, I'm going to get the benefit of when it comes to economic development, and so are you. What's the attitude in that area? Is there an understanding that there's a whole new product going to be moved here?
I think it's coming along. The more we talk about it, and the more that we work hard here at News Radio to dialogue with the big players. Even from a county perspective, so I've spoken routinely with the current chairman of the Williams County Commission about the additional companies that are coming in to use the byproducts of oil, the natural gas especially. And so it's resonating throughout the county. I don't know that the average Joe, so to say, or Jane, so to say, quite gets it as to what this is really going to mean for the area. And sometimes that just takes, seeing the steel go up, as the mayor would say. But we think that's going to happen, particularly in the Trenton area, with Cerrelon coming in, and that's going to take, that's petrochemical, so that's really going to take off and use the byproducts to generate diesel fuel for starters. So that's going to really be moving and shifting things in the county, and of course, bringing in jobs.
The one tell for me in all of this, Robin, was, the fact that they didn't leave. The big oil boom that happened before, after the boom, after everything got somewhat back to normal, they left. They left North Dakota. In this particular case, the school district didn't lose the students. In fact, it continued to grow, which tells me a lot of people call this home, and they're going to call it home for a while. But with every big new development comes growing pains. Sean would tell you that as well, and you know it. So, where are we at when it comes to the school districts with this new school district number 7, when 1 and 8 combined? Because I know there was a lot of controversy that happened with that.
And sadly, that's the one big blemish is too strong a word. I don't want to say that because there's a lot of movement in the right direction. But sadly, I have if I can give you a quick timeline, this school board in particular has not been without a light being shown on it for not good things. Essentially, and I can get you up to speed very quickly, back in October, a special meeting to discuss negotiating with he's now former superintendent, Dr. Jeffrey Fake, basically kind of blew up. They went into special session to discuss negotiating with him. They come out of special session and there's no report to the media. Quote, they didn't take any action. Well, I would have to say some entity leaked information, and the next thing you know, there is a report, not from us, but a report that the superintendent did go into negotiations and they're going to buy out his contract. So what did happen is that Dr. Thake got placed on administrative leave, then resigned 2 weeks later. The Williston Education Association called for a vote of no confidence on the board president, Chris Junt. He, of course, said, I'm not resigning. And then what you may not know is that as of December 13th, this current school board now is under investigation by the Williston Police Department and the Bureau of Criminal Investigation. And the BCI is taking the lead on this now for possible violation of Century Code relative to executive meetings, namely negotiations with the former superintendent, Dr. Thake, and the Williston Education Association. They also had a resignation December 15th. Lawyer Thomas Carlisle resigned. And there's a grassroots movement now from the 23rd of December here in Williston to push the state auditor to do a state audit of the financials of District 7, which would also entail former District 1 and District 8. So it's a timeline of this board coming under a microscope and people not feeling confident, especially when it comes to their dollars.
Well, that's the difference between you and some other people that take the camera and take the microphone, is that you don't sit there and report rumors. And of course, you and I know all the rumors in terms of what some people are talking about when they call for the auditor. And who knows whether or not those rumors are true or not, but that isn't what news directors do. That being said, did it ever come out why the superintendent was offered that buyout, why they wanted him gone? Because this has always been so fragile. District 1 and District 8, there were people working for years to try to get these two together. And so to have this going together after a vote where that vote was, very strong to meld these two districts, to have this blowing up, did we ever find out why the superintendent was asked to leave?
No, we didn't. What I can tell you, because it was very public back in October before they went into special session, what I can tell you is that one of the board members, Mr. John Kasmer, did get Dr. Thake aside, and he was asked, did you basically tell him he didn't have the votes to continue, that he wasn't going to get a positive evaluation because of the perception of the fact that he should have known that there was money missing, or unreconciled, I should say, in District 1, okay, which I know we spoke about. And Mr. Kasmer said publicly, I told him that was my personal opinion. I didn't say I spoke for the board, that, I didn't know if it was looking good for him, but I didn't say that he didn't have the votes. I just offered my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, that, so that's what he stated. But the crux of what happened behind closed doors and why Dr. Thake maybe felt in a certain position, or why the board specifically wanted him on leave, has never come to light. And it will not, because of the conditions of their agreement.
That's part of the investigation. Good work, Robin. We'll talk again soon.